Welcome back. I'm MTG Joe, and we're going to be playing some more kind of off-meta decks, just exploring what other like fun decks there are in Standard. We've played a couple Tier 1 decks on the channel. We just recently played scapeshift, but I want to kind of explore the less viewed archetypes. So in the last few months of Standard, if you want to have fun with your remaining cards before they rotate out and eventually lead into a historic format. So what we have today is a Black-White Knights list. So this is one that I've played in some capacity on the channel before. Never live on Twitch like we are today, but this has been updated. There's a couple new cards from the new set that do play well in the Knight category. So we'll take it through, see how it goes. Kind of tailored it a bit to beat the banned scapeshift decks. So to walk you through the deck, we have a number of knights as the ability. So we have Dauntless Bodyguard, which can protect another knight that we have. We have Knight of Ebon Legion, which can pump itself up, get bigger by just dealing damage, have death touch, trade up. So very useful one-drop. Duress is a concession to all the control decks going around. Get a sweeper out of the way, Teferi, anything of that nature. I did a split. So for Knight of Malice, the white's quite useful against Teferi. They can't bounce it. And then Knight of Grace can be protected against black-based removal. So a package of those. They both have first strike, and they get bigger based on our deck. So a 3-power first striker can trade with most stuff in the format on the ground. Corpse Knight is a way for us to kind of have reach damage in the deck. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under our control, opponents lose some life. A couple cast down in Prison Realms as removal in the main board. History of Benalia is our Anthem effect that pumps up our knights. So chaining together a couple of History of Benalias works out pretty well. History of Benalia is generally something you don't want, like your opponent doesn't want to bounce with Teferi. Ariel probably can get cut from the deck. I want to try it out. It's a 4-power creature that can build up our board without having to commit more resources and can serve as removal if need be. Sorin, it might just be better to play 3 Sorins, to be honest. So we'll test out a couple games and then go from there. Sorin gives our team lifelink. It can reanimate our stuff. It can shoot like Teferi or anything like that. And then I'm playing 2 God-Eternal Oketra, although not a knight. It pays for us to cast our creatures. So a couple options was considering in this 5-drop slot. Obviously, you have the Black or White Cavalier. The White Cavalier, you can destroy some stuff. Don't think it's that relevant. Black Cavalier was a maybe, but I don't really want to sack my stuff. It does allow us to bring stuff back, but we don't have really that relevant enter the battlefield effects. Oketra, if it gets killed, gets shuffled back in. It's a good blocker, it's a good attacker, and it makes our board a lot bigger. There's also a consideration for maybe cutting this for God-Eternal Oketra as a way if we flood out to draw more cards. So it's something we want to consider. The mana base, pretty standard. We got these sweet Rebecca Guay arts for our basics. 4 Godless, 4 Isolated, a couple Temples, and I'm going with 3 Field of Ruins. We do have a couple, not really too mana intensive, 2 symbols each. This is to get rid of Field of the Dead or the scapeshift kind of style decks. You can also hit an Ascanta if need be. The sideboard itself, scapeshifts everywhere, so hedging against that. We have 3 Legion's End to deal with the zombies, Despark versus any of the bigger stuff, Gruul, anything of that nature. Mortify just as a catch-all removal and enchantment. Ashiok primarily versus scapeshift, but also good if we run into any of the graveyard strategies. Ixalan's Binding, catch-all removal, want to hit Teferi, stuff like that. Bell-Haunts against the aggressive decks, but also good against like Esper Tempo, stuff like that. Lyra, good against aggressive decks. And so I want to try out Bolas's Citadel here. This might be better as a Command the Dreadhorde. But basically, you're bringing this in the grindier matchups. We can probably gain a lot of life with this deck if we have a Sorin out. So I want to be able to kind of use that life to kind of build our board. We don't have true card advantage in this archetype. Might be better Ajani, actually. Let's go Ajani. Oh. So let's go one of these instead. So this Ajani makes our creatures bigger against control, can bring it in, reanimate something, and if it goes unchecked, you get an Anthem that could win the game. So that's pretty much the deck. I'm going to run it through, what are we at? Gold tier 3. We could run it through some ranked matches, see how it does. Our daily happens to be that. So I'm currently live on Twitch. Generally, I'm going to be starting to try to do a little bit more live streams. If you haven't done so, you can follow on Twitch, get notifications whenever I come live. If you miss any of my replays, you can catch it all on my YouTube channel, MTG_Joe. If you are on the page, on the channel, if you can hit that subscribe button, it's a free and easy way to support the channel. As well as in the video description down below, I am a TCG affiliate. So if you follow that link through and do your normal TCG purchase, it's a free way to support the channel. TCG kind of helps out the channel that way. So if you're planning on buying cards for this deck or any other deck, if you can follow the link, it's a great way to help out. We'll keep this hand. Pretty nice curve here. So I'm probably going to go, let's go Threat, and then we can just play out Duress. I want to see what we're up against. This might be a flash deck. Okay, so they do have the flash stuff in. They have the wolf. So kind of unfortunate they have no real counter spells in hand right now. Target merfolk you control gains hexproof to end a turn. It's an interesting addition to the deck. So in case they we'll just pass the turn here. We don't have an answer to Nightpack Ambusher, which kind of sucks. Let's just attack in with the 1. Just get this off the board. And then they'll trade there. Let's probably just go Night Windgrace here. This forces them to play a spell. If they don't have it, we can... Okay, so they do Syncopate there. This keeps them off Nightpack Ambusher, which is nice. Gonna see if they want to trade here. They don't. I'm just gonna throw Sorin down. They had the Frilled Mystic. So they drew into their counters. I think at this point we're dead. Alright, so Simic Flash. What are we bringing in here? Probably want Mortify. The Desparks are good. Probably it. The Duress aren't bad. Knight of Grace is fine. Benalia is okay. Probably cut some of the bigger stuff on curve. Like if we could get a God-Eternal Oketra down, it's great, but I think we need to lower our curve versus this deck. Might want the Legion's End as well. Just go more control ourselves. Corpse Knight could probably come out. I like the 1-drops because they get down early, and then we just have more removal. Okay, so we'll keep this hand. Duress on 1, Threat on 2. Okay, so they have Brineborn into Swift Warden. We do have the Despark for the Night Pack Ambusher, which is nice. So I'm gonna attack in first. If we're able to stick both these Benalias, we're going to be in a really good spot. This is like the aggressive curves our deck can have. So I think we just try to jam another History of Benalia. And no attacks here. Because they have the 3/3, I don't want to lose anything until we get the Benalia trigger to hit off. So, ton of power on the board right now. Hey Halgram, how's it going today? Thanks for tuning in. So we're going to Despark this in response so they don't get the blocker. We did lose out on a point of damage by not playing Legions. Knight of Legion Ebon. Ebon Legion. Alright, we got him. So like Disruption, early threat, and go from there. I think we run it back. Curve's pretty low. Like Binding's probably going to be hard to catch them with because they're sorcery speed. So I think we just run it back like this. I'm going to keep this. Same idea. Duress them on 1. Threat on 2, Benalia on 3. So get rid of the counter. I don't really care about unsummon if they want to waste their turn unsummoning. They can do that. So here, let's just go... We're going to go Knight of Malice here. The reason being Benalia pumps it up. So they can use the unsummon here, but that also means that Fairy Duelist doesn't resolve. That's odd. They didn't even drop the Duelist down. Here... Let's try to bait out a counter. Because they have the unsummon. I don't want him to unsummon the token. So then we'll just drop Knight down. And they can play Fairy Duelist here. I guess it's a combat trick that they can do. See if they flash in Duelist. It's plus 3/3. Just resolve. If they want to block, they can. This lets us get down Benalia. We have the 1-up for Syncopate if they were to play it. Next turn we can Knight of Malice and hold up Mortify. Okay, they shock here. In case I need to respond. Interesting, they haven't played out the Duelist yet. So I'm just going to end the turn here. It's fine. They could spend the mana. I want to get them to tap out on their turn. Oh, no. That needs to die. Can't let him tap with the Ambusher. Just pass turn. So this will pop off next turn. So I'm just going to force them into blocking. So they pretty much have to trade their board here. Just in case. Yeah. So now we have removal if they play a creature. Got him. So took down Flash. Seems pretty sweet. Alright, let's see what we got in our pack. Another Mystic Forge. How are we doing on this Monday? It's a holiday up here in Canada, so been a pretty relaxing day here. Jammed some Bant Scapeshift. Finally gave in, started playing it. It does not feel like a fair deck for your opponent. This hand's a little awkward, but I think we try it. Mono red. The Knights can trade pretty well with good too. At the very worst, it I think we need to cast down that. It's a little awkward not having the black land this turn. And this will get out of hand, so probably just need to cast it down on opponent's turn. This might be another matchup where game 1 we get rocked, but game 2, 3 we do a lot better when we bring in more removal. Just probably drop Knights here. Field of Ruin's also a dead card in this matchup, which is really awkward. And they have Ashiok. Mono red, my old menace. Well, you're not going to do anything. So probably throw a block on Gitu here. We got Chandra. They attack for 3 here. No blocks here. History's not bad. I think we try to get Chandra off the board.
That all you got?
Her card advantage is probably going to bury us, but our awkward lands for the turn haven't really helped. Chandra with a Frenzy and a Steamkin on 3. I think we're dead.
No problem. Fire.
Post board we have Lyra. Okay, so you got Chain Whirlers. Another Gitu. They haven't been able to hit another spell to get these haste. Just get this off the board. Okay, finally. I don't think it matters much. Might be able to get him on a Benalia turn, but I think we're dead regardless. So that gets us there. They have light up the stage. So they got all their card advantage this game. Alright, so mono red. So obviously Lyra's good. Bell-Haunt's good. I'm gonna bring in a Mortify. Legion's End isn't bad. Do we want... So Avriel's probably not that good. Corpse Knight doesn't do enough. I could probably just go heavy removal and just play the control deck here. Play Legion's End, play Binding. Probably go down the bodyguards here because they get caught up with Chain Whirler. That exiles most of their creatures. Bring in a Despark. Sorin's really good here. Probably cut down an Oketra. Actually, both the Oketras. I'm just going to bring in the Desparks and a Binding. Play it like that. Mulligan. Yeah, keep this hand. Probably gonna put the Mortify back. The Spark's more flexible on a later turn. And we just have a ton of early removal. So hopefully they get the more creature heavy draws. Just leave with planes here. We might want Disfigure some number. So we did see Wizard's Lightning, so there is a play for us to kill this before. And I'm doing this now so they don't get Spectacle off. Benalia is really flexible in these matchups. A lot of times it's both something offensive or something defensive. I would like another threat though. Here they're likely to have Chain Whirler's a little awkward. It gets under us. And it also doesn't allow us to attack. So removal's not lining up here. Be happy if they drop the land for a Frenzy here. Sweet. Don't really want that. Okay, we drew enough lands this game. Don't even have a target for Sorin, so Sorin would be an uptick here just to gain some life. So they have the shock, which means okay, second Frenzy. They're out of gas. And we continue to draw lands. Jeez. Well, that's not really what I wanted to use that for, but I'm just gonna hold this. Got a number of good cards in the deck still. Lyra's a live draw. Basilica Bell-Haunt would be good. Okay. Benalia lets us block a couple turns. So should hold us in theory. Duress doesn't do anything here. Just pass turn. Might have been wrong siding out so many creatures in this matchup. I think we're just dead. We're just on the turn. So we got one turn to try to find a Lyra, Bell-Haunt, or something to stabilize. Do you have the burn spell? Okay. And they exact seed us. So might need to hedge a bit with the removal in the sideboard. You've ended up not being that great. So we have the Mortify. We have the Despark. Maybe go down. And then just add in a Moment of Craving. Let's see, we'll give it one more with Zombie Knight Dude. I don't know if the 2 mana when a creature enters battlefield does enough. Actually, let me just switch this. I've wanted Sorin a lot more in these matchups than Ariel, so let's go up to 3 Sorins. Alright, we'll run it through. I usually like in these decks a little bit more disruption. Fortunately, we only really have Duress main, or like Duress as a discard. We can bring in Davriel, but at 3 mana is usually a little too slow. Lions are good for spells, I hear. I'm going to keep this. Put back a Swamp. So I'm going to go Bodyguard on 1, Duress on 2. This is a weaker line if they have if they're like mono red and they have shock. So this is Feather, most likely. I'm just gonna go Knight here. Their 2-drop slots, usually their creature. And with these tap lines, they're not helping their case. So if they have shock, it's fine. They would have shocked regardless, even if we played Duress. We can get this going, and then next turn, Duress, whatever kind of pump spell they have. Flooding out a bit. I'm going to get rid of Reckless Rage here because it only gives them 1 shot to cast it. It's kind of a free attack. There's a fringe chance they didn't block. Interesting. They didn't attack here. I'm gonna attack with everything here. That's actually really good. I would have attacked with the Arcanist most likely. They're gonna pay 4 life. This makes no sense. Just take the damage if you're worried, or double block here. You gain indestructible. Just gonna pass turn here. Even if we drop have a 5-drop, we draw. We have the land for it. If not, I want to fake like we have something for it. Legion's End works really well in this matchup. They can God's Willing here. Okay, another history is nice. They have to double block here to kill 1. And that just lets us play out another one. Danto's not as good when you're not the aggressor. Okay, so they're going Reckless Rage here. So I'm going to put the block here. They could God's Willing, but that wastes their spell. Sweet. So it took down Feather. In this matchup, the Moment's good, Legion's good. Despark's probably not as good. Mortify can also get rid of a binding. So Duress probably not as good in this matchup. God-Eternal is good. Got one extra card. You're pro-white. Pro-black. So probably cut these knights. And just go in the bindings. Corpse Knight, kinda... Well, they have Reckless Rage. This all dies to shock. Maybe a Lyra for the top end. Just cut down a Corpse Knight. Run it like that. Against Feather, I like overboarding on removal as long as you can take out their early threats before they can get protection up, especially on the play. That hand would have been good if we had the land. Gonna keep this hand. And I'm gonna put away Knight of Ebon Legion. The reason I'm doing that is I'm not gonna play that for an early turn anyways. Do I want you? So realistically, I'm not casting this anytime soon. I'm going to cast down Legion's End, whatever they have. I want him to play an Adonto here. Well, this can't target Feather anyways, so we're going to do this now. So they can't God's Willing, they don't get the value out of it. Let's just get history going. If they start like Reckless Raging, paying 4 life, it's fine. No blocks here. So let's just go Knight of Malice. And just Legion's End the Adonto. So they might have God's Willing, they might have... Okay, so they do have the God's Willing. They concede anyways. Sweet. Took down 2 good decks in Simic Flash and this. Lost to Mono Red. We'll run it back for 1 more. All our post-board games have been really good. Our main board's been kind of situational, but I think as long as we start tailoring, we'll keep this hand. Without knowing what they're on, I like just playing a threat out. If this is a Llanowar deck, it is. So next turn, we have a couple options depending on how much they ramp. If we want to try to duress, if they have like a Nisa or something. This could be the Bant ramp deck. Scapeshift, yeah, it's Bant ramp. So I'm going to do this attack. If they block with the Leafkin, then I'll just pump. And that's effectively the same as having removal. So they might be short land here, which has been pretty good. Here, this turn, can actually play quite a few things out. So we got the Nisa, so this is the ramp deck. They're missing blue, which is also relevant. So I'm going to do this in the event they double block, which they're unlikely to. Interesting, these decks don't usually play Trustani. This puts a token on it, or a counter on it. And then we're going to protect our Knight of Legion, Ebon. Pass turn, that gets bigger. So Prison Realm's a little annoying. It's an exile effect, so we can't deal with Knight of Legion, Ebon Legion. I'm gonna get that right one day. Still think we're in a pretty good spot. They're gonna be priced into blocking pretty soon. We can Field of Ruin them off a color source, which I actually like. So I'm going to do it in their upkeep. So the reason I'm doing this is because then with a basic they can only get blue or green. Normally if it's like the ramp deck I have, they play mostly forests and an island. I think all their planes are a splash. Just get the swamp. So now we took them off all colored mana. And we can Prison Realm away one of their blockers. Sweet. So our opponent did stumble on lines, but we had a reasonable enough clock. In this matchup, they're not really searching. So Ixalan's Binding I like. Despark's good. Probably Mortify. Gets rid of the big stuff. Legion's End's interesting. It can get rid of Hydroid Crisis. So the Knights are good at dealing with... So probably don't want Bodyguard in this matchup. The one toughness isn't that relevant. God-Eternal's not bad. Sorin's good. Binding. We got the Desparks. Cast Down's also good. Probably just go down a couple Corpse Knights and bring in the Legion's End. Just bring in one. Mind you, they don't have... Well, they can fly over. So we do need answers to Hydroid Crisis. Keep this end. Duress them on 1, Corpse Knight on 2, Benalia on 3. Ooh. So this version looks more green-white as opposed to blue. So they can fight it with Voracious Hydra. Actually, Legion's End's probably good to have in increased numbers. Can deal with the Voracious Hydras. Let's see if we got the free attack in. Okay. That interaction's pretty cool. Knight gets them to ping for 1. They can go Trustani next turn.
Power surges through these lands.
Nissa is scary.
Behold, nature's true power.
No blocks here. So what we can do... We can Field of Ruin their animated land. Just get a... Plains here. Come on. Come on, Arena. And then just Despark Nissa. Hit him for a bunch. Then if they drop Tristani down, I could Ixalan's Binding it. And then they have a dead one in hand. And these also become smaller then. So we do that. Doing that as well, because the opponent can block with everything. But if they let any of the damage through, then this puts a counter on it. Sweet. And then worst case, we just untap Oketra. They can Voracious Hydra for a bit. So if they double the count, oh, they're gonna fight. So Knight's probably the best thing to fight because it gives them Death Touch. Ah, sweet. I think we just attack in with everything. They'll block here. I'm just gonna play Oketra down. It can block this and still survive. We don't have lethal, so this is more mana efficient. These animations are a bit laggy. Okay, so they have Lyra. Does make it a bit awkward. So cast down here. They could gain 5 life, but Lyra dies. Just end turn. Like to see some creatures. If I was that, yeah, the attack's right here. Jeez. Another Oketra doesn't do anything for us. They block, they take 4. Then we're just racing Lyra on the comeback. That seems wrong. You have to take 6. So we're probably dead. Yeah. They block here, take 4. Oh, that sucks. Flooded out a bit there. So probably want our own Lyra in here. Go down to Sorin. And then just bring in the Legion's End. That also deals with the Nisa tokens. It's Knight, but no, these have first strike, so they're probably better. Do I want the Duress though? We really only saw Nisa. So bring in a drop. Oh, no, want you. Cut you down. Just bring two of you. Split the difference. This doesn't look to be like the mass manipulation version. This. And doesn't do enough. Yeah, I'll keep this. Nice curve. Gonna bottom a Sorin. I do think we want something as a card advantage engine for the more grindy matchups. We also aren't gaining as much life as I thought we would originally. Haven't really got Sorin going with the deck. So command and thing doesn't seem the best. Maybe Liliana Dreadhorde General. It's probably where we want to be post board. Come on, opponent. I'd be happy with drawing 2 lands in a row. Sweet. So this might be aggressive enough of a curve to just kind of put them out of it. No elf on 1 helps. Alright, so they got Paradise Druid. So I'm going to attack in first. If they want to put the block here, I just pump it. That makes it bigger. They go Leafkin. Do I care? No, I'd rather keep this. They could trade for it. We'll just pump here. I don't really care about prison realming any of this, and Legion's End's not the best. Time wipe. Well, that sucks. Land would have been good for us there. So I'm going to bring the Knight back. This gives us a good threat. Even if they Nisa, we have the first strike available. And we have an answer for whatever threat comes down at 5 mana. Legion End's got a lot better here. Can probably just go get you out of the way. So they have Hydroid Krasis and Voracious Hydra. So probably just plussing here. And just start like dealing with this board. I wanted to play the Voracious Hydra first. They might go Hydroid Krasis to gain some life. So I'm just gonna keep pinging them. This is a good way to prevent him from gaining life and just refilling their hand for like a longer game.
I will protect the virtue of this world.
So we can Nisa, La Prison Realm the Nisa.
The land fights for us.
Cool. So I can negative on Sorin. That gets me Knight of Ebon Legion back.
I demand servitude.
Don't care about Field of Ruin here. I want some more action.
Comfort in the land.
So I'm just going to do this. So that way we can protect this turn. They have another Nisa in hand. That's unfortunate. They are short some mana.
Witness the ties that bind us all.
They can Baffling in. So we guessed wrong that turn.
The land shall conquer you.
They attack Sorin. Okay, so they just go straight for Baffling End here. Actually, the Llanowar Elf can kill Sorin, so they get everything off the board here. Sorin did do some work, but... Okay, so we have History. Think we're dead here. So the grind value we didn't really have. We got a lot of removal, but wasn't really able to close it out. Still have some reasonable draws, so we'll hang out. They can make a big Voracious Hydra, which we have the cast down for afterwards.
Be wary of the ground you walk on.
So I'll probably take the 6 damage here. Because we can always mortify the Voracious Hydra if they just make it big. And that might just get them to fight the token. It's a free attack for them. You're gonna double up. Yeah, that seemed odd. They could have attacked into us. Oh, that was so good. Oh, I forgot this one didn't have haste. We could have waited. All we need is like the Lyra. What do you, Deputy? Ixalan's Binding. So they make a token here. Exiled quite a few lands.
Harness the elements.
That time wipe ruined us. Oy. Yeah, we definitely need something like Liliana in the sideboard. Or even just mainboard it. And then Karn's in the side. Potentially some Kaya's Wraths. Gonna likely end up 2-2 with the deck.
Rise, my elemental friend.
I don't think there's anything we can drop. Alright, probably gonna wrap it up for that. So we played about an hour's worth of the deck. Got a pretty good feel for it.
No one is more prepared.
Has some elements which seem pretty cool, but I think just the grind element, we need something to give us card advantage in the late game. So I'd suggest probably slotting in some Lilianas in the sideboard. Maybe mainboard. This Knight didn't seem that good. What's his name? Corpse Knight. Seems kind of lackluster as a 2-drop. Probably cut these in the end, go 2 Lilianas, and then another cast down in Prison Realm. Seems like a good split. Catch-all kind of removal. Sideboard-wise, we were here for the scapeshift matchup and just never really played them. But probably just more ways to deal with like Nisa stuff. Anyways, that's the deck. Thanks for those who tuned in live. And if you missed any parts of it, you can catch everything on my YouTube channel, MTG_.